Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Okay, I want to thank you for taking a break from watching The Mandalorian. Check out our channel again, because we have something very cool for you today. We are having a first look, nobody else on YouTube has this yet, brand new, just released like yesterday, Walmart turntable. That's right, Walmart is now competing in the vinyl space. You're not going to want to miss this.
This is Record-ology.
All right, guys, let's take a look at the box here. Again, this just came out this week, so I was really excited to get my hands on one. I actually got this right before they went public with this turntable. It looks like it's from Walmart. I mean, the coloring is Walmart. I mean, in terms of the packaging, the turntable itself looks actually looks pretty high end. So I'll be curious, to see how this compares to the turntable that we recently reviewed from Target, which was only, I think, $88. This one is, or $98, maybe it was $98. This one is $79.88. This one features Bluetooth, it features 3 speeds, it's got pitch adjustments, magnetic cartridge, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. So without further ado, let's get into this bad boy. I'm really curious to see how Walmart was able to pull off what looks to be like a professional turntable, or pretty professional, for less than $80. Okay, so in the box there was also the felt platter mat. Here's some audio cables, and it looks like a manual. Let's go ahead and see here. Quick start guide. Very cool. Full manual, and the platter mat. And that is a felt platter mat with kind of a shiny kind of sticker surface. I don't know if it's sticker. On is a Walmart brand, so that's synonymous with Walmart. That is their store brand, or one of them. They actually own a lot of brands. Let's go ahead and finish unboxing this. It looks to be packaged very well, which is always a good sign, that it's packaged well. Looks like the back, powered. Oh, nope, it is. Wait, yeah, it is the back. Oh, look at that. That looks amazing, you guys. Very cool. And very well packaged. I mean, the platter is taped down in multiple places. And yeah, this looks really cool. Let's take a closer look here. Also in the package was the counterbalance weight as well. So that looks really cool. All right, let's take a closer look. All right, the platter is taped down in a number of places. Got our spacer back here, 45 RPM spacer. Oh, that's cool. It's a little different than they usually are. It says 45 on it. And it just sits back there on that peg. A couple more pieces of tape here. They took a lot of care to make sure that this arrived in one piece, which I appreciate, especially after the last show. If you didn't see that, take a look. That happens sometimes. Here is the Stylus Protector, and we're going to slide the, it hinges off. Oh, interesting. I've never seen one like that before. And that is a magnetic cartridge, you guys. Just because it's red tip doesn't mean it's ceramic. So we'll take a closer look at that as well. But before we do, let's take a look underneath and around back. Okay, let's look underneath to begin with very carefully here. I'm curious who makes this. Littleton is the one that made the Target turntable. Just says on 3-speed turntable, Walmart Stores Incorporated, made in China, manufactured August of 2019. It's got the Intertech label, which I learned is actually regulatory information. It's not the manufacturer. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up the FCC ID and see exactly who made that. All right, so we got the line output, the phono and line output switch there for the preamp. Being that it is a magnetic cartridge, it does require the preamp. However, it's built in, or you can use an external one. It's got the Bluetooth on and off switch, and then a little hole there. I'm not 100% sure what that does. Let's go ahead and look up the FCC ID and see exactly who makes this. I'm thinking it's probably Littleton, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, so looking it up online, it's made by a company called Weizhou Yinghai, I think is how you say that. And according to the FCC ID, this was all done within the last couple of months, which is really, really interesting. Here's a couple of photos under the hood. I'm not going to take this one apart, but as you can see, there's not much to it underneath the plinth there. So interesting. I thought it would have been Lead-Tak because this switch right here is very similar. So both Lead-Tak and this company must source them from the same parts manufacturer. Okay, so it does have a circlip. The circlip has fallen off, which is okay. It does pop off in transit. Again, please see my last video. That's going to allow me a good excuse to take the platter off. So let's go ahead, take off the platter, and look a little bit under the hood here. I'm just going to pull it off. And there we go. That's really, really interesting. I was not expecting to see this up here at all. That looks kind of similar to the LP60. I am really not sure. Does this have auto return? That's really, really interesting. Here's the bottom of the platter, by the way. It's a plastic platter. Look at that. That's the same gear that you're going to find on an LP60. Very interesting. Or the Crosley T400. So yeah, just a flat belt there. There's the motor pulley. It is purposefully on the opposite side of the tone arm. Usually they're up here because they want them as far away as possible from the needle, but in this case it's as far away as possible from the tone arm base. But still, you know, that makes a lot of sense. I'm really curious what this is, because from the specifications that I can see, there would be no obvious reason for this, because that looks like something to do with an auto return or an auto stop, which this is not. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. If you know, you probably know. I can hear people screaming through the screen at me. If you know, let me know what that is, what that does if I don't figure it out, which I probably won't. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the platter back on. Let's set it up and take a closer look. So this switch is very similar to the one on the Target turntable, the Heyday turntable. But again, it's not. This is not made by Lead-Tak, as I thought it would be, just based on this. So this must be a common part. You'll notice that there's a lot of dust already showing up, and that's one thing I noticed about the plastic they used in this, is that it's very like dust magnetic or prone to. I mean, it's black, so it's, you know, it's going to show, you know, white dust particles, you know, more so than another material. But I did notice myself brushing away pieces of dust a lot. So here's a switch. It does feel kind of cheap, honestly. It's not like a good hefty click. There's a little bit of give to it. Back here you've got the pairing button for Bluetooth, and back here is the pitch adjust. Supposedly you can get up to 2% plus or minus on the pitch. Let's look at the counterbalance next. So it does have a weighted counterbalance. Oops. But just like the Marley and just like the Heyday, this thing was really hard to level, because check this out. This is a lot of give in it. There's a lot of motion. I don't feel like it's a precision instrument in that regard. You know, higher end turntables just don't have that. That being said, I was able to find a balance, I believe. There is a latch here. The latch doesn't really snap on. It just kind of moves in place. But you want to use that latch if you're storing it or transporting it. It does have a cueing lever, which is good. There is some damping effect to it. It's a very interesting lever here, but it seems to do the trick. And then anti-skating, you're going to want to set this to the same value out of the gate that your counterbalance is set to. Putting 2 grams of tracking force down right now. But this doesn't tell you in the literature that I've seen so far what the recommended tracking force is. So 2 grams is a little bit of a guess. If it's too scratchy and it's skipping, add a little bit more. And that's really kind of the best guide. As long as you're under 5 grams, you're not going to have to worry about any sort of damage. Next, the anti-skate knob here has a very small rotation to it, so you're only able to set it between 0 and 3. So I'm guessing that this counterbalance only applies up to 3 grams of tracking force, which is kind of interesting. So we're set at 2, so I'm going to put it right in the middle there at 2. By the way, when you see me touch this, it kind of sponges down. There are some really good spongy feet on here that seem to do a good job of absorbing vibrations and whatnot. Okay guys, and here is the cartridge. Again, don't be fooled by the red tip. This is a magnetic cartridge. It does look like it might be replaceable, so this head shell may allow for you to change that out as needed. It's got a finger lift right here. It is plastic. And let's see if this is removable. I don't know if that head shell is removable, but it looks like the cartridge is upgradable if you would want to do so. Although, maybe this will do the trick, I'm not sure. But again, a magnetic cartridge, that's a good thing. That should give us pretty good, full, rich sound. Let's take one more top-down look. The Tonearm, S-shaped Tonearm is metal. Head shell is plastic. Counterbalance is metal. Plastic platter. The Heyday turntable from Target did have a nice hefty metal platter, so I would like to point out that distinction. The dust cover is nice. It's got the rubber little pieces on the edges there. If you've had a turntable that, you know that's a nice touch. Good thick plastic. The hinges, you know, feel strong, and I feel that in that regard it's very, very good. Overall, I like the design. I haven't heard it yet, so I can't speak to that yet. But it does feel like, you know, there were some cost-saving measures in terms of materials, obviously. But this is a lot of turntable, you guys, for $80. I mean, think about what you're getting here. 3 speeds, you know, magnetic cartridge, adjustable counterweight, adjustable anti-skate. It does have Bluetooth, although we won't take a look at that. So it will send Bluetooth to your Bluetooth speakers, which is really, really, really cool. Without further ado, let's put on a record and give it a listen. And to sound check this bad boy, we're going to be listening to Andrea Bocelli. So we're going to be listening to a direct feed. You're going to hear exactly, you know, what this thing sounds like directly. So put on your headphones and let's give it a listen in stereo. And again, a direct feed. Listen to exactly how good it sounds. So I rotate the Tonearm over and it grabbed the Tonearm and put it back. This has to have an auto return. That's the only thing I can think of. So let's go ahead. You know what? Screw that. I want to find out if it has an auto return. Let's go ahead and drop it on the run out groove and see what happens. I'm just curious about this. It'll go down that. See, I don't think it's balanced still. It's this armature back here is so cheap that it's really hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and put 4 grams of pressure down. At least I think that's 4 grams. And I'm going to see what happens here. Let's see. Come on, you can do it. This is bizarre. All right, let's try that. Okay, this thing is just not tracking. Let's try now. I can't get enough downforce to get it to even go into the groove. I'm going to put more until it finally does. There we go. It's still not even quite tracking heavy enough. I got to put more yet still. Okay, let's try this. Okay. It's still skipping. This is really, really interesting. Maybe I didn't calibrate this counterbalance. And again, it's hard to tell with this being so loose. Go down. Okay. Look. It's got auto return. Okay, that explains that. Interesting. So it does have auto return. That's a good feature, actually. I really wish that this Tonearm would track better. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do and see if we can get this to play the record at least well enough for us to give it a sound test. Okay guys, so I think it was my fault, which happens a lot here if you're new. Anyway, so apparently those point markings were 0.1 gram markings. So I was at 0.2 grams. That's why it wasn't heavy enough to drop. So I rotate, every full rotation is 1 gram. So I rotated it 3 times forward from 0. So I need to adjust this. So right now we're really, well, that's where it would be marked. So anyway, so I've got 3 grams of tracking force applied now. It should play perfectly fine. My mistake. So it's still, look at it skipping over the record. I'm going to push down on this to give it clearance to fully drop, which this should loosen up over time. So obviously that's not ideal. You shouldn't have to do that, but apparently the cueing lever rest just needs to be worked back and forth a couple of times in order to get it lubricated or whatever, which is surprising because there was so much lubrication on the bottom of this thing. But anyway, let's go ahead and give this a proper listen here. Direct feed.
What fun it is to ride jingle all the way. Oh, Albero che
Okay guys, and I bet you're probably wondering if that's the platter wobbling or if that's the record. Let's find out together. So I'm going to take off the record, I'm going to take off the platter mat, and we're just going to spin the platter and see if it's wobbling. Yeah, there is some platter wobble there, so that up and down is not ideal. And again, it's probably specific to this unit. I doubt they're all going to do that, but when they use plastic materials like that, especially thinner plastics, they are susceptible to warpage and things like that. So that's not ideal. It seems that this cueing lever mechanism is just, no matter what you set the tracking weight or the counterbalance weight to, it doesn't push down enough on this lift. So, and there is some adhesive, or not adhesive, hope there's no adhesive. There is some lubricant in there. I don't know if it just needs to be worked around. Time will tell. It looks, I mean, once you push this down, I feel like you can track okay. But I don't feel that the counterbalance is giving me accurate information, and there's actually no specifics about how to set this counterbalance. So going off of my previous experience setting up turntables, I had to keep cranking it forward, keep applying pressure in order to get it to track at all. So again, I don't know if that's just this unit or if it's a design thing. Hard to say. We're going to keep looking at this player some more in the future. Probably do a Target versus Walmart turntable test. And maybe by then I will have figured it out a little bit better. I'm not saying by any means that it's not my fault somewhere down the line, but it does seem that no matter how much tracking force I apply, it can't overcome the lift mechanism, which it should just completely fall down on its own merit when this is lowered. And it goes down a little bit, but not enough for the stylus to go all the way down into the groove. So, okay guys, thank you so much for being there and for watching the show. I appreciate it. If you're interested in this Walmart turntable, check out the link in the description below. But in the meantime, happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching Record-ology. Stay tuned for a new show every Sunday and Wednesday. Don't forget to hit subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Twitter.